What's up, people? Welcome to our video series, Cost of Building in Ghana. If you happen to be a first timer, I will encourage you to check the previous episodes so that you have a fair idea where we've come from. We are on the 17th episode, and today we'll be looking at the pouring of the concrete for the 2-bedroom decking. This is going to be the last episode of the structure series, as I mentioned last week. And for the bonus discussion, we'll discuss how to get the dimensions of your project to help you with your estimates. If you check the previous episodes, you would notice that we first completed the 3-bedroom side before proceeding to the 2-bedroom unit. And because of that, we have to join the two. So to join the 2-bedroom to the 3-bedroom unit, we first needed to wash the old concrete, that's the 3-bedroom side, with water. This is to get rid of all debris, and then we went ahead to splash cement powder. Now we did this because if you use the powder, it's able to enter the crevices better than using the paste. As you can see, we splash the cement on it. We wet it, and then once we splash the cement, it gets stuck to it, and then we can go ahead and pour the concrete. So for the joining, we mix the concrete 1:1:2. So 1 bag of cement to 1 wheelbarrow of sand, and then 2 wheelbarrows of stone, as you can see. And I have to make sure that this concrete is mixed really well, so I ensure they add very little amount of water. That is one struggle I have with the workers. They believe adding more water makes the concrete stronger, but I believe it just makes it easier to work with. But the point is, once the water evaporates, it's air that is going to be filled in. Even if you use the puka, which is the vibrating rod for concrete, you will still have air pockets in there because of the excessive water in the concrete. So at least for the joining, I usually would have to be around, ensure that they are adding the required amount of water. So you may have noticed a few seconds back that the concrete has very little water. It's not flowing easily. So we do that, and then for the rest of the project, we use the normal ratio, which is 1:2:4. That is half bag of cement to 1 wheelbarrow of sand, and then 2 wheelbarrow of stones, as you would soon see in the video. So that is the regular mixing process you see on your screen. So you can see they load 1 trip of sand, which the guy in red is pushing, and then 2 wheelbarrows of stones, and then the one at the machine will pour half bag of cement on it, and then they're going to load that. So now let's get to the workers. So generally, as you might have noticed if you followed the previous episodes, we are using 15 workers in all. That is 3 people deal with the stones, as you can see, 2 load and 1 will push, and then 2 people are by the sand. So 1 person loads and 1 person pushes. That becomes 5. And then we have 3 people at the top loading the concrete when it goes up. So they push the wheelbarrow with the concrete at the top. And then we have 2 people actually spreading the concrete and leveling it. So that comes to 10. And then we have the operator of the machine, the one opening the cement. That becomes 12. And then there are 2 people at the top who actually pours the concrete from the bucket into the wheelbarrows. That brings it to 14. And then I usually pay the carpenter to be on site on that day. Technically, I am not supposed to pay, and many people may not pay, but I do. The reason why some people wouldn't pay is they consider it as part of the contract. Now, if you're doing a project like this, which is continuous, if you don't pay the first time, they may not show up the second time, which may be risky, especially if there's any opening in the structure. That's a wooden structure. So once you pay them the first time and they know they're going to be paid, they will be there. If it's a one-off project, you may have your way and then let them know that, look, it's part of the contract, so they would have to be there. You keep part of the money, then they're going to show up. For the labor cost, I paid each one 90 cedis for the day. The surface of the concrete mustn't be smooth because we're going to lay blocks on, so if it's rough, it's able to bond well with the mortar. And again, during the screeding, it helps to make the concrete bond better with the mortar that is used for the screeding. At this point, they were resuming from break. Usually they start around 9 a.m. and then around 1 or 2 p.m. they take their lunch break. Now, depending on how much work has been done, I would allow 30 minutes or an hour of lunch. So usually by the first 4 hours, this is the quantity that is done. It may look a little bit discouraging, but it isn't. The reason is I make them fill all the beams. So at this point, all the beams have been filled, and then they proceed to do the slab. The reason why I do it this way is at least it doesn't put too much weight on the wooden structure for the beam so that it wouldn't open up. And my beams are big. Usually the beams take about 50 bags of the cement, and usually for the 2-bedroom side we are using 85 to 90 bags of cement. So that is an indication that the beams alone, you will usually use more than half of the total number of bags that are used, and it's because of the sizes of my beams. We had some few questions about the thickness of our slab, so we decided to show you how thick it is. We are doing 6 inches, so as you can see, I put a tape measure just there so that you can have a fair idea how thick the slab should be. This is just about 6.1 inches, but I'm sure once they level it up, it should get to about 6 inches. Now, in one of the earlier episodes, we spoke about getting the right track size for your stones, and this is where you see the importance of that. Usually, if we get the correct 20 cubic meter track of stones, we are fine. It's able to complete the slab, and there would even be a little left. But if they bring you even 19 cubic meter, you are going to be in want. So just imagine if they sell 16 to you as 20, that means you're going to be stuck in the middle of the job. Fortunately for me, since the truck of the guy supplying us with the 20 cubic meter got messed up, I always have a backup. So just out the back of my wall where the 2 guys are standing at the entrance, I have some stones there as backup. So when the main one got finished, we were able to use that. Imagine I didn't have that. What it meant was I basically would have to order, and then they would have to bring it the following day. For the workers, that is good news because they get to be paid again for the same job they could have done in a day. But for me, that isn't good because it's going to cost me money. With regards to the sand, usually 1 trip is fine. whether they bring us 18 cubic or 20 cubic, we are able to use one trip for 2 floors. Okay, so let's look at the total cost for just the concrete pouring. So as usual, we sort it out and then we would add everything. So if you look at the bottom right of your screen, you will see the total cost, which is about 9,600, roughly 10,000 Ghana cedis. But you would have to estimate between 13 to 15,000 Ghana cedis. The reason is, if you look in the list, there is no sand. That's because I had sand already, and the workmanship was increased to 90. In the list it's 85, and this was way back in April. There's been increases in prices. For the cement, I usually buy more than what is required because we would use it for other jobs on the site. So to help you with your estimates, just like in the last episode, the bonus discussion for today will look at how you can determine the dimensions of your project. So usually in your building plan, you would have the dimensions in millimeters. So all you need to do is to divide it by 300 to get it in feet. If you are comfortable with the millimeters, you can leave it as it is, but mostly the people you'll be working with in Ghana will be dealing in feet. So on your screen, if you look at the length of our project is 24,300 millimeters. So to know that in feet, we will divide that by 300, and that should give us 81 feet. If you look to the left side, which is the width, that's 12,000 plus, and that should give us about, if you divide that by 300, that should give us about 42.5 feet. So in the same way, if you want to know the dimensions of the master bedroom for the 2-bedroom side, that is going to be, for the width, that will be 1,800 plus another 1,800 plus 1,500. If that should give you 5,100 millimeters, and if you divide that by 300, you should have 17 feet, I believe, for the width. If you want to know the length, you just need to look to the right, and you add all those numbers there. That should be about 5,700. So if you divide that by 300, you should be looking at about 19 feet. So that is it for this episode. Feel free to post all your questions in the comment section below. We certainly do answer all questions on Sundays. Thank you for watching. So watch out for the next episode, and see you in a bit. Enjoy, people.